Now please welcome Angela Voss, Chief Executive Officer, Marketing Architects, and Chad Wells, Chief Marketing Officer, Physicians Mutual.
All right, welcome. Thanks for joining us today. We are here to talk about effective TV advertising. I'm Angela Voss, joined by Chad Wells, Chief Marketing Officer at Physicians Mutual. Thanks for being with us, Chad.
Pleasure.
Before we jump in, a little bit about Marketing Architects. We are an all-inclusive TV agency, reimagining television to help brands scale. Really known for kind of disrupting traditional approaches to television and bringing a lot of accountability into the strategies so that our clients ultimately understand what's happening, can sell those impacts into their executive teams and their boards, and ultimately help them grow. Kicking off here with a quote from one of my favorite marketing legends, Peter Field. Some of you may know him. He says, "Any marketer who considers walking away from TV advertising would be crazy to do so." A man after my heart, clearly. But he's got good reason. As we look at average time spent with television daily, it's growing, first of all, so that's a great win. Over half of the time spent with television today is still with linear, which might be surprising to some. But television does have a problem. And that problem is really rooted in price and the cost to get into the space, and therefore the ability to drive effective television campaigns. And so we're going to be kind of breaking down some of the issues that exist and how to address them. Of course, the most extreme example I could bring today would be the cost of a Super Bowl spot. Over $7 million in 2024 to air a 30-second spot. And you might be thinking, well, traditional TV is expensive, of course, but what about streaming? Maybe that's a way for us to get in for less. But unfortunately, when you look at the cost of streaming on a CPM basis, it's typically even more expensive than linear. Intertwined with that base kind of publisher costs, you've got third-party targeting costs, SSP fees, ad exchange fees, DSP fees, all stacked on top of each other. If we're doing any third-party targeting, we have to layer that on top. And so again, it just becomes cost prohibitive to be in that space. So we're going to talk about how to address some of that today. We did an audit across all of our clients' television campaigns, and you'll see here Marketing Architects campaigns on the right. We've got top 5 TV ad spenders on the left, large brands in the middle, and found that our clients were able to achieve similar reach levels for roughly half the cost, if not less, by deploying some of these strategies. So let's get into them. First, don't limit your media plan to only the biggest networks out there. Those typically happen to be the most expensive, whether it's a network, whether it's a publisher. And if we think about our viewing habits as a consumer and as a TV viewer, they're very broad. We're not loyal to TV networks and publishers the way we are maybe in radio or with podcasts. We really chase the content, really. So extend those media plans out, go broader to try to find that efficiency. Secondly, when we think about our target, we need to go beyond what we call the bullseye target. A lot of times when marketers come into television, they're coming out of digital. They're looking for a new channel to help them grow, and digital costs have been rising, right? I'm sure there's a lot of us here that have experienced that over the past couple of years. And so we've had to get really niche and targeted in the digital space in order to make digital work. But we need to remember what TV's superpower is, and that's really reach, be it linear or streaming. And so when we come into television, we of course need to go after that ideal customer, but we need to broaden that out to secondary and even tertiary targets that could potentially be effective for your TV campaign. Third, lean into technology to really gain that max reach at the lowest cost. Media buying is more complex now than it has ever been. The TV landscape is more fragmented than it has ever been. So this chart shows some of the traditional buying approaches that we might think about when we're trying to buy TV, media. We've got upfront, we've got scatter. We are big, big, big fans of AI-driven media to allow our clients to get that high reach at that low cost. We built an AI media buying platform back in 2018 that has been a complete game changer for our clients. So definitely lean into tech. Next, when we think about the television landscape, we really need to be thinking across both linear and CTV. When we look at Nielsen data here, almost 3 in 4 TV households watch both linear and streaming television. Linear is only 13% exclusive with those households. Streaming is only 11% exclusive. And so it makes sense that in looking at some MRI Simmons data here, when asking consumers how do they define television, the top answer is anything I can watch on my TV set. There is no discernment with that consumer or that viewer between streaming and linear. For those marketers that are airing on both linear and CTV, 73% agree that their campaigns work better with both. So that's important to keep in mind. And so when we think about, again, moving into television, we want to start with that broad scope, thinking across both CTV and linear. If we can get in front of a consumer in the linear space for far less, why would we pay more in the streaming space? Both of the channels have great superpowers, so use them uniquely to drive that performance. Some data here from Effect TV, 73% of multi-screen campaign reach is unique to traditional television, and then streaming does a better job of reaching those light TV viewers. So good things to think about as we enter the space. Thirdly, when we're talking about drafting effective TV campaign strategies, of course we have to bring up measurement and attribution. It's a top-of-funnel channel. It holds immense power. It can drive sales today and build demand for tomorrow. So how do we think about that? We really like to think of it in 3 buckets. We kind of break down this framework for our clients, evaluating the micro, which is going to be that immediate short-term performance, the macro, and the business. So micro would be immediate phone calls, immediate web traffic, app downloads. We're talking about the responses that are generated anywhere between a minute to maybe 10 minutes after a TV spot airs. When you're looking at macro, it might take weeks or maybe even months to start to see shifts in traffic composition. What's happening to your conversion rate on your website? What does lifetime value look like in comparison to maybe what it looked like prior to launching television? And then business impacts, what are those? Those are actually the most fun. You won't find them, though, if you're not looking. So things like new investor interest, things like I just got off the phone with a client last week talking about since I've launched television, my sales team is 20% more effective than they used to. Why is that? Because they show up and they know the brand that they're talking about right away. So those can actually be the most fun, the most impactful to the business. So when we think about launching a TV campaign, we've all got those primary KPIs and targets that we've been using within our business in digital, direct mail, whatever it might be. Of course, put those on the scorecard. We should be looking at those. But then we need to add in some of those secondary KPIs that could be effective. I want to shift non-branded search to branded search with television. Okay, put it on the scorecard so that you make sure that your team is looking for it. And we're going to need multiple models to do this. We have a saying at Marketing Architects saying all models are wrong, every single one of them. But some are very useful. I would advise you right now, if you're running television and you have a single viewpoint as to what TV is doing through an agency, through your DSP, I highly suggest to add multiple models and ensure they triangulate that performance that you think is actually happening. At MA, we have anywhere between 12 to 15 models running for any one client at any given time. Everything from ACR technology, MMM, time-based series analysis, macro lift analysis, et cetera. So really important to do that due diligence to really understand kind of what those impacts look like and ensure that your models are lining up and telling you the same story. When this is done well, it's very exciting. We repeatedly see TV drive success for our clients, both performance, immediate impacts as well as branding. Average ROAS for our B2B clients is north of 7. Average revenue growth during clients' first year in television is close to 40%. And of course, TV does a great job of raising brand awareness as well. So excited to hand it over to Chad to talk a bit about physicians' experience with television.
All right, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, Brandweek, and with our friends at Marketing Architects. So, Angela, thank you for the invitation. Chad Wells, I'm Chief Marketing Officer at Physicians Mutual. I've been here for a short while. We are, a long company founded in 1902, headquartered in Omaha, Nebraska. And I have had the good fortune of working with many different brands and really studying consumers in the health and health insurance landscape for the majority of my career, starting with technology and software early in my career, in my early days. And as we are here, I'm going to share some good work that we've done with marketing architects. It's always good and fun to share some of the good work that you're doing. And as you look at this slide, this is a screenshot from one of our ads, TV commercials. Physicians Mutual, as I said, we're a 122-year-old business. And Physicians Mutual isn't just in the business of dental. We provide and offer supplemental health, life, pet, and several other insurance solutions to meet the needs largely for people that are in and or nearing retirement. And if any of you are nearing retirement or have, parents, colleagues, siblings, friends, or others who are in or nearing retirement, you probably know that the landscape from a consumer perspective is different when you're there. And those are a lot of the needs that we set out to support. But when you really think about who we are and our purpose, we're here to help those who are trying to navigate the complexities of understanding insurance. How can they feel better and a more joyful kind of life as they're thinking about retirement and what that means for them, for their financials, their health and well-being for the rest of their years. And then obviously, if an event happens, we're there when they need us. And so we consider ourselves playing a very important, purposeful role. And not a lot of people think of insurance in that way. But that's why we're here at the end of the day, is to help people feel comfortable and feel relaxed and feel some joy from what they have, knowing that they're protected with a little bit more as they go forward. So we've been working with marketing architects for almost 2 decades. And a lot of our work started in radio. Radio back in 2005. And marketing architects was really helping us to evolve and manage the media landscape and the analytics that helps us to understand and navigate that landscape as we go forward. Our relationship really started to evolve and take off in 2012 when we launched and started getting into the world of television. And happy to say that as we've launched and got into the world of television, our world has dramatically grown from that sense. We've largely been leaning on television on a different product line to product line basis. And as you saw from the last screen, and I'll share a little ad concept around this going forward, but our dental line of business is one of those areas where we wanted to do and learn a little bit more. And we look at, and I don't think of performance marketing, brand marketing as 2 separate sides of the coin. I view them as working hand in hand to help drive a business forward. Who's with me on that one? And too often in my career, I've worked with leaders, business owners, et cetera, who want to diversify their business across brand or from performance marketing. At the end of the day, we need to drive results. We need to drive sales. But we want to do so in a way that supports our brand, and especially a brand like Physicians Mutual, which has had a very well-respected, long-lasting, and trusted brand for over 100 years. I know many of you are in the same place within your brands. And so how we do that is key and critical as we go forward. So additionally, you want to stand out in a crowd. You want to look different. And in the dental market, as you would probably well know, because most of you get your dental plans through your employers, when you retire, you don't. And most people don't realize, just in the case of dental, the gaps that exist there. There are very few good dental plans and programs for people who are on their own, aren't getting that through their employer. And so I want to introduce Benny. Benny is a CGI-generated tooth that marketing architects helped us to create to truly stand out in a highly commoditized, crowded marketplace. And Benny is fun-loving, friendly, warm, and not only has Benny tested well from a creative concept perspective, and he's driving the response that we want, but he also fits the brand of trying to help people feel some comfort, feel some joy, and some happiness going through what they're going through. And let's face it, who loves going to the dentist? We all do, right? Well, and then of course you got the bills on top of that. So, Benny has been a friendly and advantageous spokesperson for us as we have pushed forward our dental product lines going forward. And I also want to say, not only are we testing, our creatives and Benny from that perspective, but we also have done a lot of testing in terms of both our call to actions. Obviously, like probably many of you, starting with kind of the age-old 800 toll-free numbers, right? Call in, et cetera, but how we drive web activity and traffic, how we've been building in QR codes and other digital devices, texting capabilities as a call to action. As we've been testing more and more and evolving our media call to actions, we've started to see more of that halo effect, which is also where TV has been pivotal for us as we've been growing and evolving our go-to-market capabilities from that sense. Physicians Mutual really started as a direct marketing business, and it had to evolve aggressively in 2012 and beyond, and we are still evolving, I would say, as we all are, in how we mix that up more as we go along. Additionally, you want to test the halo effect of multiple elements and triggers in market. And so we did a localized testing, again, with our partnership with marketing architects, where we picked 3 markets versus other 3 like markets. We kept our national advertising going. We did a heavy up in 3 local like markets, and we tested a number of key performance indicators. Obviously, our return on ad spend, our cost per lead, cost per sale, et cetera. I'm happy to say that we were able to see that true halo impact of doing this test, of adding an elevated TV spend and what that did across the board. Not only did we get a higher response, a better return on our ad spend, we had a margin improvement of almost 20%. We saw a lift across all other channels that were in those markets at the same time. So it really did show that kind of omni-channel, all-channel effect of what elevating TV was able to create for us as we went forward. That was a key learning. It also helped to teach us more about our customers and their preferences and their communication preferences as we went forward, which is key and critical for us as communicators and marketers always to stay on top of. And so really good learning that we had through that test. Of course, that's just one of many, right? We're all testers always. I like to think of myself as a researcher just as much as a marketer, just as much as a data guru, just as much as a creative wannabe. But with that said, we're always working to evolve, and I always say about marketing, it's the constant pursuit of perfection, one that will never ever be attained. And so that makes it a fun challenge for all of us in this room. I also want to ask, anybody want to take a stab at what kind of tooth Benny is? Yell it out. Wisdom tooth, very good. I wish I had a prize, but I don't. But they may have something outside. So yes, a wisdom tooth. We want to grow Benny's wisdom across other channels, right? Make that work, of course. Again, have some fun with it. And I do have a spot that I wanted to share. I don't know if you guys can cue that up.
The dentist will be right in.
Hey, I heard you're retiring soon. You excited?
Yeah, Doc, but there's so much to consider. Medicare, finances. Oh, and I lose my dental insurance.
You can get your own from Physicians Mutual. Easiest decision ever. It's real dental insurance that's real affordable. Well, I think my work here is done.
Wait, what?
Hey, I heard you're retiring soon. You excited?
Affordable dental insurance from Physicians Mutual Insurance Company. One of the easiest retirement decisions you can make. For a free information kit, call now. This dental insurance helps cover over 400 procedures. Everything from cleanings and fillings to crowns and dentures. See any dentist you want with no deductibles and no annual maximum.
Well, I think my work here is done.
Wait, what?
To get your free information kit with all the details, call now or visit sendinfokit.com.
Physicians Mutual, Physicians Mutual.
All right, so yeah, Benny's a fun-loving wisdom tooth, and we plan to bring Benny to life more and more. He doesn't say much in that ad, but that is definitely something that we are working on with Angela and team as we go forward in humanizing Benny more and more as we progress. So I look forward to sharing more, and you never know, you might see Benny up on stage here in one of the subsequent years, so you never know. So with that said, I'm going to close out and hand things back over to Angela, but it really has been a good run, and you always want to look at evolving your media mix. You always want to look at understanding the halo impact and effect that any one channel can have on others. And I can say with utmost confidence that what we have been able to achieve with the help and with the lead of our TV campaigns, and one that we're going to be continuing to evolve, has definitely generated a halo impact across all of our marketing channels and effects. And our dental product marketing, as an example, has become kind of the standard by which all of our other business lines and product lines are going to be following suit. And as a brand, working to continue to elevate both the sales performance side as well as the brand awareness and elevation from that sense. So with that, hand it back to Angela.
Thank you, Chad. All right, so to wrap us up here, clients have seen game-changing results. Physicians Mutual is one of them. Really appreciate the partnership that we've had in the creation of Benny and a lot of other things. So tip number one that we covered today was leaning into efficient reach through technology. That's really going to help us get outside of perhaps overspending on some large networks or publishers. It's going to help us expand our audience, thinking beyond that core bullseye target to those secondary and tertiary audiences that might be effective. Tip two, right, was think holistically about your TV media investment. Let's not go into television thinking solely linear or solely CTV. Start with both. And lastly, use those multiple models to measure TV's true impact. No one single model is going to give you the correct output of what TV's doing, so really look to triangulate those performance indicators. We could talk about this all day. We love breaking down effective TV advertising, and we do it on a podcast weekly. We release 1 to 2 episodes a week. I would love for you guys to check it out. You can find it at marketingarchitects.com/podcast, or just find it on all the major podcast platforms. We will be around for questions afterwards, and we do have a little nook in between here and the food in that little walkway there. So happy to chat with any folks about TV and what drives effectiveness. Thanks, guys.